You're listening to the Who is Christine Anyway podcast season 2. Today's guest is musician, author, and actor Justin Pearson. Enjoy. I must drive everybody nuts when I start talking about bands because we have the band as the group, and then I start breaking down each person's musicianship. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, if this band loses this person, then they're going to completely lose that. And then if they lose that, then it's never going to be able to be replaced. So therefore, the band's never going to be as good as it was before. It almost sounds like so depressing and bad, but it's like, no, really. If you get rid of this, it's going to go down that way. And it's, now everybody focuses on the endorsements and the sponsorships and all these other things, which, have always kind of coexisted. But, the signature models and all these things. And you can never quite really replicate that original guitar that is beat to fuck. Or just, like you said, the original gear that is just, it comes close, but it never quite tags. It's like a pair of sneakers.
It's like, a nigger up when Sonic Youth got their van robbed or their U-Haul robbed or whatever, and they stole I can be wrong, but they stole a bunch of guitars, 50 guitars, and they're like, oh, there's guitars that got stolen that will make it impossible to ever play these certain songs ever. That's it. We'll never play those songs again because those guitars are gone. So it's kind of crazy to think about that. And there's times with even with that Schumann PLL pedal, I was like, oh, fuck, if I can't get this thing fixed, we cannot play that song, which is a 10-minute long song, Mm-hmm. So I see, those are kind of interesting aspects. But with the band thing, it's interesting, too, because I would always kind of have a lot of... I felt very uncomfortable in a band where people would give me more credit than the rest of the players, and I hated how some other people that I played with would be offended by that and directed at me. And it's not usually my fault, I don't think, but if someone's giving me more credit, I kind of wish that didn't happen, because I think that band wouldn't be what it is without everybody. And fuck, for all I know, I'm the weak link, but regardless, I think that I feel when you don't kind of take in consideration of everyone's part, that's an important.
But that's why you have the major group, and then there's the sub musicians that are, each one has their musicianship. If you lose any particular part, you can never replicate a certain aspect. A band cannot continue. And then that kind of in the world of marketing, when something like that happens, if your fucking trailer gets robbed, and 50 guitars are taken and you can never, there's a level of mourning that goes on there between the band because they can never perform that song again. But then in the business side of it, you have to go, okay, can we turn tragedy into strategy and go, okay, then these are now limited edition runs of this, and that's the last time it'll ever be done. Because you can't, you could re-release it, repress it, redo it, but it's, again, that sneaker is not the same sneaker. Mm-hmm. And it's, and honestly, if you're not feeling that song when you're performing it on the new gear, it's kind of like getting, the knockoff store brand. So it's it's the same fucking factory, just Friday 5 o'clock made shit. It's just the same, I guess. It's just, especially when you sit there and you look at it, because I think psychology translates into music a lot more than people go to realize. It is a product. And oftentimes, people go, well, I know the business. I know what'll sell. It's great. But do you know what will work with your artist, your musician, your person? So sitting down with someone and going, okay, well, currently they're at this trajectory emotionally, pushing them for this is not going to get the best results. Putting them in the woods or, hey, obviously don't walk up to them after great Granny Gertrude died and give them a notepad and say, now's the time, having them process that and understand that translates into the music. And it does translate with instruments. I've seen people they're I went through divorce. My bitch ex-wife sold my fucking favorite guitar. Now I will never play. And they don't play the same ever again. These are life-changing moments. It's the same thing where they have to kind of become innovative. We see a tweak, a twist, a turn. It's like a recipe. It's well, Grandma used to put in cardamom. I've got cinnamon. So that's what we're going to do. And helping them kind of understand that and being to that degree, that marketing of tragedy into strategy, into a way. And especially I think the theft of instruments is just such horseshit as a whole. I think that is so fucking rude. I know it sounds awful and so plain. They're such injustices. I'm yeah, but that was somebody's trailer. It was locked. It was parked. Or, I mean, they posed as a stagehand and went in and took it. Would nobody check the badge? Like, that kind of stuff. It's always such a preventable thing. And I always tell musicians, even if, something is priceless, get insurance.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, you'll never be able to replace it. But
I just sold this, the van that I've had since 2003. It had 440,000 miles on it. I just sold it.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I sold it, and the people that bought it was like, we love your license plate frame, because it said that it was like mobile dog grooming. And I was like, that is like the biggest deterrent. Then like if we're on tour or we're like wherever, like, I don't know, like upstate New York in some random, Motel 6 or whatever, they're going to be like, I'm not breaking into the van that has dog grooming shit in it. They're going to break into the...
As soon as you said mobile dog grooming, I just pictured the van off Dumb and Dumber.
I don't remember what that looks like, but...
It was furry on the outside and had a tail on the back. Like, it was a legit dog.
Yeah.
Like, mobile dog grooming.
Like, I know, like, on tour and I'm driving and I'm like, oh, there's another band van right there. Like, you can tell. Like, they have, like, they'll have, like, a fucking Dead Kennedy sticker on it or whatever, something, or, like, a Gibson thing or whatever. And you're like, that's a bad...
I just need to spray paint down the side. This is not a band's van. That was just...
Yeah. But like simple little things, like spend fucking $4.99 and get a license plate frame that says mobile dog grooming. That's a huge deterrent, So
how many mobile dog grooming services are going to get broke into now with people thinking there might be guitars inside?
I mean, I don't know if asshole, thieves that like rip off bands are going to be watching this or listening to this podcast, but yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, then I'm just gonna start roughing up anybody in the back of a mobile dog grooming van now. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's happened to us. I've been robbed on tour. Like, they broke into our van before, and afterwards I was like, what can I do to stop that? And put a kill switch in, get a license plate frame, and you're looking at like $30, and that's like, those are two huge deterrents, and tint your windows. Don't like leave shit laying around.
Yeah, that's something. Is that something you wish you had known when you began that you know now?
Yeah, but I think like coming from like my class upbringing and like my street smarts, I already knew. And so the one time we got robbed was crazy because we played a show and afterwards we drove, I don't remember, like maybe 20 minutes to a grocery store. And it was like midnight or whatever. And we went grocery shopping for food. And then we were going to go to the hotel. And we got robbed while we were in the grocery store. Someone broke into our van and stole all of our shit out of it. And it was crazy to think, because we were, they didn't steal the van because we had the kill switch. But they broke in. But what we found out was people had cased this venue and they followed us to our first stop. And they robbed the van. They stole from the van while we were shopping for groceries. I got away with it. And so like, I think normally if the vehicle wasn't being cased and someone was just like fucking with a hotel, or whatever, wherever you rob, someone's van, it would have been one thing. But I think we had all the deterrents in place. I just feel like they followed us and they knew we were a band.
Yeah.
So.
If you were being cased, that's some dedication.
Yeah.
First of all, I watched your set.
No. I don't think they watched the set. So I think like they just knew that's a music venue and they would know all those vans leave with gear. And so the weird thing is they didn't get any gear because it was in our trailer and you couldn't get into that, but they got into the van cab and stole all of our backpacks and our money and our computers and cameras and all that shit, cash, whatever. They stole all that shit. So, but I think that was like their MO. Like they would wait and say like, oh, that van is, they would see us loading gear into it, and fuck, for all I know, maybe they were like, oh, there's 6 people. Let's follow them to the grocery store. All 6 went in, like, because we even had a fucking curtain behind the driver's seat. So like, for all you know, there could be someone still in the van sleeping or sitting in there, and that's, so yeah, I think there's a lot to it. Career style criminals.
But it's kind of cool to think that like for $30, like a mobile dog grooming thing could actually deter so much. And it's those little nuances that nobody really thinks about.
I mean, those license plate frames, you can get them on eBay for like $4, So like that and a kill switch, if you put a kill switch in, they're not taking the van away, and they're probably going to not break into it. If it's tinted and you can't see gear and you think it just has shit inside of it, like dog grooming supplies or whatever,
Maybe they're avid dog.
I don't know how resale fucking shavers
I
out
don't think I'd ever thought about a dog shampooing is so bad. Like, I'm going to break into that van. I bet they have better shampoo.
so dirty.
Wow, I bet they got like an alternate to bleach in there or something. Like, I've got beagles, so like my beagles would probably.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like, could you imagine you break in? It's like, oh, fuck, it's just guitars. Slam the guitar into sleeve. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you were casing the wrong venue. I said to go to the dog boarding center. It's like, shit. That's amazing. That is amazing, though. But it's like, I don't know. All right. So if The Locust was to ever score a major Hollywood movie, what would it be? And what would it be about?
I mean, the default would be like a sci-fi film, I suppose. Me and Gabe Serbian, which is, I guess, half of The Locust, scored part of this film, Incompressa.
I'll get to that in the documentary.
Yeah, it was a cool film. I think. I think it turned out really, really well. It was nice to be part of it. But it's cool to score it. But as far as scoring, I mean, I would assume like horror or sci-fi would be.
I was gonna go with horror.
Yeah,
I feel like a horror would be. Yeah.
Well, sometimes like I guess what is Aliens? Alien or Aliens, whatever. That's horror and sci-fi, I suppose, together, right?
That's a good alien movie in a while.
Well, the Alien, Alien or Aliens, but or like, I don't know, major, like obviously, I mean, what's major? An A24 film would be great, but I don't know what major is, like Disney, I don't know.
Imagine Disney's like, hey, we're redoing Lion King. We want you to be Mufasa's score.
Good deal. But now Disney owns the Star Wars franchise. It totally is. Yeah.
It wouldn't be bad on Star Wars, actually. I can think of a couple moments.
They've shit the bed with with all their stuff, but would I pass on it? No, not at all. So yeah, Phil scoring is great. I would love to do that.
Growing up, we so my grandmother, like, we lived. She did the best she could. She was amazing. And I always got everything, like, at a garage sale. Like, that was it. So, like, all my friends would be like, I got a Nintendo. And I'm like, nah, Atari. And I love my Atari. I was badass at it, too. And the same thing, like, time would go on. And the same thing worked with movies. So all the movies were, like, always, like, way behind. So I still have, like, the original Lion King VHS. Like, in the plastic, or, like, the plastic casing. Like, you'd get them at, like, Blockbuster. Yeah. And then, like, I remember my first CD player, I got it for like Christmas one year. And she's like, I'm going to get you your first CD. And I'm like, I was sneaking listening to the alternative station with my brother. My brother was skateboarding, a little older than me. And she comes back and she's like, I think it was Easter. And she gives me the Easter basket. And I opened the basket and it's Mariah Carey. I'm like, fuck. So, and my bedroom was like right off the living room. So like I know all these lyrics to these really obscure country songs, which are like wonderful. And then I have like the whole Mariah Carey Butterfly album down. It's just so random. It'll come on at like a grocery store. And I'm over here like, da, 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 da. It's like, everyone's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, get the almond milk. Just keep going. But it was just one of those, like, I don't know. I call it poverty privilege. And it's kind of funny because, like, especially now as I go up, I'm like, you guys are screwed. At least I grew up in a hunting family. Like, if it comes down to it, like, I grew up on a farm. You had to, like, grow fruits and vegetables and harvest. And, like, I had a friend telling me, they're like, man, my mom would have to send me out into the neighborhood and it was dangerous and it was to get their food. And I'm like, my grandmother had me picking blackberries next to black bears. We are not the same. Like, she's like, and she was so laissez-faire about it. She was just like, if the bush growls, leave. I'm like, now I'm a parent and I'm like, I could have died. And she's like, okay, but you didn't. So
keep listening for more of my conversation with Justin. Visit www.whoischristineanyway.com for access to all the social media links and additional podcast episodes.